Hello everyone, welcome back to the ground stick practice. When people first watch this movement, they usually notice the stick. They see it rotating across the body. They notice the hands moving, and they often assume that is what the exercise is about. But for me, the stick is not the most interesting part. What interested me is what happened before the stick begins to move. Because good movement doesn't start with the hands. It starts with preparations. Before I take a step, before I rotate, before I move the stick, I organize my body. I connect to the ground and create balance. And I prepare my body to move as a one connected system. That is one of the principles behind the ground stick practice. The stick is not the goal. It is a guide. It gives feedback. It shows us whether the body is moving together or whether each part is working on its own. Today, I want to show you one of the fundamental movements of the practice, not because it's complicated, but because it teaches a principle that applies to almost every movement we perform in daily life. So let's observe the movement together. I begin standing upright. My feet are about shoulders wide apart. The stick rests in front of my legs, held comfortably with both hands, and not freezing. I'm preparing. I become aware of my feet. I feel my weight distributed through the ground. I lengthen my spine. I soften unnecessary tension. And I prepare my body to move as a one unit. From there, I step forward, similar to the footwork used in many martial arts. As my front foot lands, something important begins to happen. The stick starts to rotate. If you watch carefully, you will notice the sequence. The foot connects with the ground. The hips begin to turn. The trunk follows that rotation. And only then do the arm guide the stick through the movement. The stick travels across the outside of my front leg. Then I return smoothly to the center. Without stopping, I repeat the same pattern on the opposite side. The movement becomes continuous. Step, rotate, return. The momentum is gentle. Never rushed. Never forced. Every repetition is an opportunity to feel how the body organizes itself. The stick helps me notice if one shoulder moves too early, if I lose balance, if I twist only through my arms, or if the movement truly begins from the center of the body. That feedback is one of the reasons I enjoy training with a simple stick. It doesn't hide mistakes, it reveals them. One of the biggest misunderstandings about rotations is believing that it's something created by the upper body. Many people rotate using only their shoulders and arms. The movement still happens, but it often feels disconnected, less efficient, and more demanding on the joint. Real rotations is different. It starts from the ground. The feet create stability. The legs receive the pressure. The hips initiate the change of directions. The trunk transfers that energy. And finally, the arms simply express what the rest of the body has already organized. When movement follows this sequence, everything feels smoother. You don't need to force the rotations. You don't need to create unnecessary tensions. The body begins to move as a one connected system. This principle is not only useful with a stick, it's the same principle we use when we walk, when we throw, when we lift, when we change directions, and even when we simply reach for something. The stick doesn't teach rotations. It teaches awareness of rotations. And that is an important difference. One of the reasons I continue practicing movement like this is because they remind me that quality always comes before complicity. More speed, more power, more difficult exercises. But if the body is not organized, adding complicity usually creates compensation rather than improvement. Sometimes the simplest movements become the greatest teacher, not because they challenge the muscle the most, but because they challenge our attentions. They teach us to notice, to slow down, to organize, and to move with intention instead of habits. For me, that is where real practice begins. This movement may look as simple rotations with a stick, but the deeper lesson is not about the stick at all. It's about learning where the movement begins. Can you feel the ground? Can you organize your body before you move? Can the hips lead instead of the shoulders? Those are the questions this practice invites us to explore, because better movement is not created by doing more. It's created by understanding more. The stick is a guide. The real practice is learning how your body organizes itself through movements. Don't collect exercises, build understanding. This is ground stick practice. Move better, feel stronger, stay grounded. See you in the next video.